Hi, my name is Shay Anderson, and today I will be presenting on my Friendship Lunch and Bunch group. This group was designed for fifth grade girls at my school. It took place from February 16th to March 30th, and it was designed to help the fifth grade girls that we were working with on their social and emotional skills and help them to build stronger friendships. For existing data sources, one that we took very seriously were different parent letters that we got that were describing bullying issues, specifically cyberbullying issues with the girls in that grade. We take this very seriously, and we realized that there were some essential skills missing there that we could work on. And then another existing data source was teacher and administration recommendations for students who were not getting along. So we were getting many recommendations from different girls that age to work on individually, and we wanted to, instead of only working on a tier 3 level, move to a tier 2 level to help teach those skills. After selecting several girls that we thought would be a good fit for this group, I created a permission form and sent out to all the parents of those girls to see if we had their permission to be a part of the group. And every single parent that we sent it out to gave us their consent and thought this would be a good fit for their student. We did a pre and post assessment to see how the girls were feeling and what they knew and didn't know, and to see if our group helped them to improve in those areas. So some of the questions on the assessment was, I feel connected to other girls at my school. I respect other girls at my school. I care about how others are feeling and doing. I believe that it is possible for girls to support one another. I believe I can make a positive impact on the girl community at school. I believe that having a diverse group of people in the school community makes it a better place. It is easy for me to understand how others are feeling. I know how to build other girls up and make them feel good about themselves. They were given the option to circle or color in either a thumbs down, a neutral thumb, or a thumbs up on each of those questions. Here are my pretest results. I made it very clear to the girls at the beginning that this was just for reference. They were not being graded on it, and they didn't have to put their name on it. We just wanted to see where they were and to see how we can improve. The number that had, or the question that had the most neutral was, it is easy for me to understand how others are feeling. So that was one that I really wanted to emphasize, empathy and understanding how others are feeling. Another one that had the most neutral is, I believe I can make a positive impact on the girl community at school. So these are some of the focus points that I wanted to have on my lessons. The objectives for this group was, one, to unify and repair relationships within this grade, and I really feel like we did just that. On our very first lesson, I had a girl raise her hand, and she just said she was so excited to be in this group because she had made some bad decisions and had lost some friends, and she really wanted to make it right, but she didn't know how to, and she felt scared and embarrassed. And so that right there just showed me that we were really lacking some skills there. It wasn't a matter of want or willingness, it was just a matter of lacking those skills. And so I really believe we were able to help them to repair those relationships, and that was a great thing to see. Our second objective was to teach 5 virtues in a fun environment, and I'll go through what those are in a minute. And our third one was to create a safe space and a place of belonging for all. At our first group session, we had the girls write up their own rules for this group. And then we were going to have some basic ones if they didn't cover it, but they covered all the ones that we felt like were needed. So some of the rules that they came up with were confidentiality. They wanted everything that stayed in there to stay in there, not to be sharing each other's stories with the other kids at the school, and they actually were very respectful of that. We also went over the limits of confidentiality as a counselor. Another rule they came up with was to be kind and non-judgmental, especially when someone was sharing their feelings or something that was hard for them. I love that they came up with this one, sit somewhere new each time. I think that really helped it to not be cliquey and to help bridge relationships. And the last one was no interrupting or whispering. So we had 5 lessons. We called them virtues, and we had little symbols that went with each of them. They were little jewels, and they got to collect them at each one and have their little bag of jewels to carry with them. So the first one was inclusion, and that was a sun jewel. The second one was confidence, and that was a star jewel. Then kindness, and that one was a heart jewel. Social media, because as we mentioned before, there was some cyberbullying going on, and that was a diamond jewel. And then the last one was empathy, and that one was a flower. So our first lesson was on inclusion. We started out with a little game, and before we asked one girl to sit out before the game began, just kind of as a little experiment, and I was actually really impressed. The girls noticed it right away and invited her to come and be part of it and made sure she was included, so that was great. We played musical chairs, but the goal was to have everyone on a chair. If they did that, they won. So each time we were taking away chairs, and at the end there was only like 2 chairs, and they were having to get several girls on it, which was silly and fun, but also a great visual about being inclusive. We discussed our feelings when feeling excluded, as well as the difference between a group and a clique. And then we had the question, what makes a good community in one word? And then do those qualities apply to the 5th grade girl community? We had a lot of great conversation here, and this was a really fun first lesson. Our second lesson was on confidence. And this was really great because a lot of the girls opened up about how hard confidence was for them. And a lot of girls were able to console each other and talk about it and draw strength from each other's stories. And it was really powerful to see. So we talked about how confidence can affect our relationships, how low self-esteem can give rise to jealousy and insecurity. And we talked about confidence being contagious and helping others to feel it. And then we made affirmation banners to hang and repeat every day, and they had a lot of fun doing that. Our next lesson was on kindness, and the main activity we did was called sticky note compliments. We gave everyone a bunch of sticky notes and different coloring utensils, and they wrote sticky note compliments for each other all throughout the session, which was really fun. By the end, everyone had a good stack of compliments. At the beginning, a lot of the compliments were appearance-based, like you're so pretty, I love your outfit, which we talked about how there was nothing wrong with those. Those were still great, but how we can also find deeper compliments to give as well. And the girls practiced that, and there were a lot about personalities or things we admire about each other, and that was really fun to see. We talked about how kindness is contagious, and I felt like the activity of sticky notes compliments really highlighted that because the more people were getting them, the more they wanted to give them out as well. Our next lesson was on social media. And this was a really important one because there was a lot of cyberbullying going on, particularly with this group of girls. We watched a video and talked about friendships and boundaries and how important it is to have boundaries, especially online. We gave them this little check sheet about what you should do before you ever make a post about something online. So I talked about thinking before you post. Did you check if it's true? The internet is forever. Parents, teachers, future colleagues, and bosses might see it later. Don't be a bully. No threats, even as a joke. No name calling. Kindness counts. If you wouldn't say it to their face, don't post it. And I think that was a big one right there. Kindness counts with strangers too. If you wouldn't say it to the person standing next to you in line, don't post it. And don't share private information like your age, birthday, and address. So we had them all go through that, and we told them unless you can check off every single one of those, it's not something worth posting. Our last session was on empathy, and this one was really fun. We had a little Sesame Street video, and at first I was worried it was too young, too simple for them, but they were actually giggling and really loved it. We did an activity called Walk in My Sneakers, and everybody was given these cards to talk about with a partner, and we switched partners a few times, and they were all different scenarios, and they would try to empathize, try to understand how the other person was feeling in those scenarios. And I think this is a great exercise to practice, especially since our pre-assessment showcase that a lot of people have a lot of the girls were having a hard time with empathy. The post-test results, for the most part, all of them either stayed the same or improved, which made me really happy. There was one that got worse. That was the question, I believe that having a diverse group of people in the school community makes it a better place. I believe the reason that this scored worse on the post-test was because during the pre-test, I went through every question individually and explained what it meant. And I explained what diversity meant during the pretest because a few of the girls weren't sure. I did not do that on the post-test. I should have, but I thought they all understood that. But after looking at the results, I feel like that is something that I should have done, and I will remember that moving forward. The two questions that made me happy to see improvement on was, it is easy for me to understand how others are feeling, because it had really low results for the pretest, as well as I believe I can make a positive impact on the girl community at school. So both of those improved, and that made me happy and made me feel like this group was successful in helping these girls. Here are some of the references I used to help me to design and implement this curriculum.